All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the All Sports All Plays Network. My name is Will, alongside today for some post-game recap before we get going on our late-night wildcard matchup. But today, I've got my man Trey with me. Trey, how we doing?
I was doing good, man. I got the new iPhone 12 Pro Max. I was excited, and then today's games kind of got me in the bad mood. So maybe I should return it.
Hey, you're not the only one. But also with us today, we got Con Man with us. Con, how we doing?
I'm doing good, gentlemen. How you all doing?
Man, I can't complain, but no one's gonna care.
Ooh,
so, well,
I will.
We'll get to complaining here in a little bit. I tell you what, but. First off, appreciate everybody joining us here on All Sports All Plays Network. Before we get started here, don't forget that you could be our viewer of the month here in January and win yourself a free t-shirt. Trey, can you go ahead and tell them how they could do that?
Yeah, all you have to do to get that awesome t-shirt right there that you're seeing on your screen is all you got to do is comment on our show. The most comments per viewer through the rest of the January gets a free t-shirt, and all you got to do is comment and be part of our show, and we'll send you that awesome shirt.
And what happens if they can't make the show live, or maybe they don't want to be in the comment section?
If you're too shy or don't want to be a caller, you just want to see what the show's all about, and you like that t-shirt, all you got to do is hit up one of us three or anyone else here from the All Sports All Play Network, and we'll send it to you. I know it says $25, but I still believe we're selling them for $14.95 right now, plus shipping and handling. So just contact any of your ASAP analysts, and we'll be happy to give one out to you.
All right. Let's go ahead. Let's hop right into the slides there, Nate. Let's see what else we got on store for us. There we go. Starting off with the Ravens visiting Tennessee to take on the Titans. And this game was, dare I say, exactly how everybody kind of expected it to go. A big rushing attack on both sides. Definitely the focus in the game was the rushing attack. But one team a little bit more successful in that rushing attack, to say the least. Baltimore ended up taking the victory 20-13 over the Tennessee Titans. They will be moving on, and we are awaiting to see who they will be facing depending on the outcome of this game tonight. Trey, I'll start with you. What were your thoughts going into this game and Baltimore and how they played?
I mean, Baltimore did what they always do. I mean, they're only one-dimensional. Let's just face the facts. They're a running team. Lamar Jackson is not going to beat you throwing the ball, and you saw that early on with that pick at the in the first quarter with that horrible throw by Lamar Jackson. Yes, Lamar Jackson can dink and dunk and have a couple of wide receivers wide open because Andrews is a big talent on the tight end side of the Baltimore Ravens. But I don't understand what Tennessee's doing. You know what he's going to do. He's going to run the ball. Lamar Jackson ran the ball. For 16 times for 136 yards. He led the team in rushing. We all know what he's going to do. I just don't understand what they didn't do. Granted, the Tennessee Titans defense is not that good this year. There's no pass rush, no nothing, but they did get to Lamar Jackson a lot in the first half, but then they stopped for whatever reason. I don't know what the second half adjustments were. It didn't work. But hands credit to the Baltimore Ravens for making adjustments in the second half and basically containing King Henry for a majority of the game. They tackled him. He only had 40, 50 yards rushing, if that. Contained him all day. made Tannehill didn't have a good game throwing the ball either. So that defense showed up, but they're going to have a tough test next week. I think we're going to see more next week from the Baltimore Ravens. But congratulations to the Baltimore Ravens. But I just don't see them winning no matter who they play. I don't see them winning next week.
Yeah, you had said that they did a good job of stopping Derrick Henry. He was held to 40 yards on 18 attempts, only averaging 2.2 a carry. Conman, are you more impressed by the Baltimore Ravens defense to hold Tennessee to hold Derrick Henry that short, or are you just kind of chalking this up to the Titans offense being more one-dimensional?
I'm going to have to give credit to the Baltimore's defense. I mean, to hold the King to only 40 yards, I don't think too many people anticipated that, but also the fact is Tannehill, he went 18 for 26, threw for 165 yards, 1 interception. I would think since they locked up Henry, that they would throw the ball a lot more and be a little bit more effective. But to answer your question, I was very impressed with Baltimore's defense. Their schemes, their defensive schemes really locked up Henry, and it made it very frustrating for Henry, and also made it frustrating for Tennessee.
Yeah, to only see 26 pass attempts out of Ryan Tannehill when the run game is being locked down like it is was kind of shocking to me. I mean, I understand, we've harped on it multiple times on this network that a lot of teams abandon the run way too early. But whenever you're sitting here and you're constantly feeding, and I know I understand you have the best back in the league when it comes to yardage standpoint, the only guy to reach 2,000 and the only guy even close. But whenever it came down to it, I mean, he was, what was his longest run? 3 yards? I mean, it was just constant stuffing. I mean, he pulled nothing out whenever it came down to it. It seemed like Henry couldn't get downhill. He couldn't get to that second level. And that's when Henry is the most dangerous. Whenever we see him get past that defensive line and past the line of scrimmage, you get to those linebackers and those corners. Now you're looking at a completely different running back. But if the defensive line can swallow him up, we see that the Titans are very pedestrian, to say the least. They made a couple of big plays on offense. I know that A.J. Brown caught a really big pass for a touchdown. He made a nice play. He also caught one nice over the shoulder, a good adjustment by him. But, Baltimore, they were a little bit sketchy whenever it came to offense today, too. Didn't look great in the passing game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's fair. Lamar 17 for 24, 179 and an interception. So nothing spectacular. Obviously, we know Lamar, being a little bit of a run first guy. Obviously, he had a lot of rushing yards. One of them coming on I want to say his rushing touchdown was about 48 yards or something along the lines. A big hole up the middle. Con, we heard Trey's opinion. Do you think this Baltimore Ravens team stands a chance against either Kansas City or Buffalo?
No, I don't. Just for the reasons that Trey said. The fact is that they rely on the run game, and those two teams will more than likely make it very difficult for Baltimore to run, and that's going to put Jackson at a disadvantage, and I think that they will not be able to do anything against those teams at all, if you ask me.
Can I say something real quick? We've seen Baltimore and Kansas City play 3 times already. Kansas City has won every matchup with the Patrick Mahomes, not even by close margins. Kansas City owns this matchup. They match up really well against Baltimore. Could we just stop that hype? And I want to say another thing. Tennessee, I don't know what Vrabel is thinking. Remember that call he made last year that he wanted to cut off a thing to win a Super Bowl, but yet he won't go for it on 4th and 2 on the Baltimore 40-yard line? I mean,
can someone explain that to me? Can somebody explain that to me?
I don't understand it. You say you want to win Super Bowl, but yeah, you don't go for the best running back. Yes, I know he was contained but I'm trusting Derrick Henry to give me 2 yards more than I am that defense who hasn't stopped the run all game, and you need to score a touchdown. I'm sorry. Even if you give it up, okay, what's the big deal? You're still in their territory. I just don't understand why Vrabel's thinking. He's going to shoot himself in the foot looking back on that tape. I guarantee you that.
I think Tannehill played he didn't play a great game by any means.
No.
Nothing to blow you away. That one interception was really unfortunate because Raymond ended up falling over his own feet. And then it ends up hitting, I want to say Jimmy Smith or Marcus Peters, one or the other, right in the chest. I mean, there was no way you were going to drop it. We'll get to no way you're going to drop it here in a little bit. But whenever we're talking about this Tennessee Titans team, Trey, I'll ask this to you. Last year, we saw this Tennessee Titans team be a little bit questionable on offense, other than Derrick Henry, of course, but pretty well off on the defensive side of things. This year, we saw them take a big leap in their offensive side, and they've had some defensive struggles. Where do you see this team going forward? Do you think let me ask you a better question. What do you think they need to address first? Do you think this is an offense or a defensive issue first?
I mean, they could use another wide receiver, a slot receiver. You can put A.J. Brown on the outside. You have the great tight end as well. They could use a slot receiver to get you those tough yards like a Cole Beasley does, and a lot of other players have. But their biggest problem is defensively on the defensive line, to be honest with you. They except for today. Today was an exception, but they do not rush the passer very, very well at all season long. You just look at the stats. I think they're almost dead last in the league in that, as sacks and stuff. So, I mean, they could use another cornerback, but right now I think their first round pick, they'd need to go defensive line and get a stud there. But they could also use a slot receiver as well too. So a little here and there. I mean, they're not far away. I mean, they're definitely not far away. They got a lot of talent on the offense end, and then on the defense end, their secondary is pretty good. Got Butler, you got others. So sure, you could probably use one or two defensive backs in the later rounds, maybe free agency. But right now, I just think the defensive line is the main strategy that they really need to go for in the draft, because not rushing the passer all season long hurts you. And you showed it today at the end of the game when they needed to stop. And they couldn't stop Lamar Jackson when everyone in the world knew what they were doing. They only have one play that worked all day, and that was a read option. And Lamar Jackson's averaged about 15 yards on that read option. So that's what you need to shore up.
I don't know if this graphic that I saw is correct. I don't know if it was for the whole season or not, or if it was just for a certain amount of time. But I think I saw a graphic throughout the game that said the Tennessee Titans have the lowest number of sacks of all teams qualifying in the postseason, and they only had 19 for the whole season. That's ridiculous. They managed to get to Lamar 5 times today, which is nuts. Congratulations. That's a hard feat. But 19 times all season, I mean, that speaks for itself. I think you're pretty hit the nail right on the head on that one when you're talking about needing defense. But yeah, I mean, we're all kind of in agreement that Baltimore is, great story. Congratulations for figuring it out, whatever was going wrong there at the middle of the season. Because I want to say at a point they were like 6-5, ended up winning 5 straight to go out. But man, we're all agreeing here that this may be the end of a Cinderella run for Baltimore. So let's go on and jump on to the next game. That's unfortunately. Yeah, we all know. Okay.
Oh, man.
Man. Yeah, I tell you what. Con man, I'm going to let you start talking first. Final score of this game, 9-21 in favor of the New Orleans Saints. They will be moving on facing they are going to be facing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next round. So that'll be interesting. They are facing Tampa Bay at home. Let me get your opinions on this game first, though, Con man. What did you see out of New Orleans?
Well, New Orleans, I mean, I expected more offense out of them, to be honest with you. It was kind of a low-scoring game. Again, the turnovers played a part. And New Orleans is going to have a hard time against Tampa Bay next week without question. But I think the Bears, what a great defensive team they have, but they have no offensive weapons. And it's got to be debilitating, frustrating, agonizing to play such good defense, which would keep them in the game, but they have absolutely no offense. And that destroyed them. I mean, to watch the game today, I mean, New Orleans gave them every opportunity to come back in the game, but they just couldn't do it. I don't know what the hell happened. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, New Orleans offense really wasn't anything to write home about today.
No, not at all.
It was nothing too exciting. And honestly, I mean, there's a couple opportunities that I'll talk about with the Bears later on. But Trey, obviously New Orleans getting ready to go and host Tampa Bay. We saw them play twice throughout the season, and it was, for lack of a better words, kind of embarrassing on Tampa Bay's part both times. Obviously, the first time they played was in week 1, no OTAs, no everything like that. You got a new quarterback. Things are different. But whenever it got later into the season, when they have more chemistry, it was even more embarrassing. The game was even worse. What are you looking at going into this game? Or what are your feelings between Tampa Bay and New Orleans?
Tampa Bay better have a better game plan than what they had the first 2 games. I mean, that's just But correct me if I'm wrong. You might know this, but I don't think Brown was playing in either of those. I know he wasn't playing the first one. Was he there the second game? If he was, he was just barely.
Don't think so.
he's going to help out that offense a lot.
If he was, that was his first game.
Yeah, and he's going to help out this offense a lot. Let's just be honest. He can get you those little dump passes and run for 20 yards after the catch. He's going to help that offense. But that offensive line, man, they need to protect Tom Brady because that pass rush for the New Orleans Saints is for real. Especially playing in New Orleans, even though there's no fans. But the Saints are a hard team to beat in New Orleans. So, but honestly, the defense is playing well for the Tampa Bay. But even though they had it was a tighter game yesterday than I thought it was going to be. But that defense they can create turnovers, and we saw today. And that's why I picked the Bears to win. The Saints don't have a great offense. They don't. Drew Brees he looks his age. He looks his age. He looks every bit of 42 years old. Happy birthday, by the way, Drew Brees on Thursday, 42 years old. Congratulations. But they don't have anyone that beat you over the top for this New Orleans Saints team. They really don't. Now, Harris had a heck of a game today. He came out of nowhere for me and had a stellar game. That was the key. He's coming out of ankle surgery. You don't know what you're going to get from him. You don't know how well that ankle is. If you can take whatever his name is, a running back.
Kamara?
Yeah, Kamara. I want to say Camilla. If you contain him, the Saints team, Drew Brees can't throw it deep anymore. Taysom Hill, that's why they have to bring Taysom Hill for those gadget plays. If they can rush the quarterback and contain the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a chance. Remember, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row or 3 times in one season. That's the only thing that's going for Tampa Bay. I think Tom Brady's going to have revenge on his mind. I think him playing indoors, I think, is going to help because there's no cold weather factor involved or anything like that. And I think they're looking for a better game this time. And I think Gronk's playing a lot better. You're starting to see a little bit of Gronk from the New England Patriot days. I think he's going to help Tom Brady in the short game as well. So we'll see. But I'm not picking this game yet. Give me a little time. If you want me to pick, I'll pick. But
you don't need to pick.
No, but I do think it's going to be a lot closer game than the last 2 games. I surely do.
I was just looking for more of an insight than anything, but you don't need to pick right away. I mean, I understand, but no, this game was kind of, for lack of a better word, I think the Saints kind of played underwhelming, at least whenever. And that's not even as a biased Bears fan. I think this is a Saints team that should have came out and put up more on this Bears team. And especially with the Bears missing both Jalen Johnson, their number 2 corner, and Roquan Smith, their number 1 middle linebacker. I mean, they're missing key pieces of their defense, and the Saints were only able to put up 21. Now, granted, they almost put up 28, but they got stuffed on the goal line, 4 different attempts from the 1 and could not pull it off. Shout out Bears. That was a big stop there. But it was at the end of the game whenever it didn't matter anyway. It was already a gone game, 21-3 at that point. Luckily, the Bears got literally the most garbage time touchdown. Shout out Jimmy Graham. Awesome catch.
That was a heck of a catch.
It was an awesome catch to catch it, score the touchdown, and then a savage mode just to walk right off the field afterwards. But, the other touchdown didn't matter. It really didn't. It came down to the end. It came out as time expired. It just made the game look closer than it was, which as a Bears fan, I'm happy because defensively, we really didn't do too bad, except there is one stat I'm going to pull out to you guys real quick. And this is very daunting when you're looking at it in this game. And here's a big difference maker. When we're talking about third down efficiency, obviously it comes down very important to execute on third down. And overall in the game, the Saints went 11 for 17 on third downs, while the Bears were only able to go 1 for 10. That is terrible on the Bears side of things. You cannot go 10% on third down and expect to win a football game on the National Football League. It just doesn't fly at that type of level. When we're playing professional football, you got to do better than that. The only other thing that really stood out for me for the Bears was that they took 9 penalties as compared to only 4 for the Saints, which is very bad as well. You can't be getting into trouble. I know there was a point in which Taysom Hill came in for a 4th down attempt and it was able to draw Eddie Jackson offsides. And then not to mention Javon Wims dropping a wide open ball in the end zone. I mean, there was just a lot of errors whenever it came down to the Bears play today, which I'm not gonna sit here and complain. We fell backwards into the playoffs anyway. We're only in there because of John Wolford, so shout out him. Go Rams. But whenever it came down to it, like the Bears the Bears showed they weren't ready yet. They kind of showed that they weren't ready yet. There was a couple mistakes. There was a couple things here and there that could have been corrected. But ultimately, I mean, in the playoffs, that's going to cost you a football game. So there's a lot of question marks going forward with Chicago. I'll start with you first, Trey. Obviously, they have a lot of defensive pieces. Their defense has always been their staple. There's question at quarterback. It came out today that said that it is unlikely that the Bears are going to franchise tag or sign Trubisky, bearing a long playoff run. Well, we have our answer there. Allen Robinson is reaching the end of his contract. There's a lot of question marks going into this Bears offense going forward. Let's start with the quarterback first. Are you going within the NFL to find your answer, or are you addressing the quarterback in the draft?
I'm calling Houston, asking what you want for Deshaun Watson.
Okay. I don't hate that at all.
Well, first and foremost, you got to sign Robinson. That's your big. I don't know why you haven't signed him yet. This guy is the glue to your team. This guy, he's basically your only offensive stud, basically. But Montgomery's there, but Robinson, he's your only top wide receiver that can make plays. And why they only got one, you only got a catch starting the second half is beyond me. I don't know the play calling was terrible. I'm not blaming it all on Trubisky today whatsoever. That play calling was horrific. There was no read option. But honestly, you need to move on from Trubisky. Trubisky probably needs a better start somewhere else. If you can't get Deshaun Watson, I'm not going to Cam Newton. I'm sorry. I'm not going to Cam Newton.
Thank you. Me either.
Honestly, if you can't get Watson, you can't get somebody, I guess. I would ask the Jets what you want for that second pick to get Fields, because I think Fields is going to be a stud. I think he's going to be the first Ohio State quarterback to be really good. I think he's a better upgrade than Trubisky, but that's not saying a lot. But he can throw the ball and he can move. I think he makes a better decision. I think he's a true winner. Where Trubisky, we didn't know if he was a true winner. He had one good season. He didn't even play a full season at North Carolina, and he had one magical run in North Carolina, and everyone thought he was the real deal. And Bears brass was the only one who saw that. I don't know why they traded. That's the stupidest move in Bears history, if you ask me. But I'm pretty sure there's more. You can probably tell me on that later in history lesson, Will. But yeah, you move on from that. That's what I would do. Go after Deshaun Watson, see what they want. I mean, honestly, I would probably. And you're probably going to hate this, but if they want Mac, I'll give Mac up for it. I really would.
I don't hate it. I mean, at this point, Deshaun Watson would instantly come to Chicago and already, without taking a snap, be the best quarterback to ever put a Bears uniform on. I mean, I don't hate it. At the end of the day, if we could keep the rest of the defensive pieces, I mean, it has to happen. You know, I mean, at this point, we're not going to contend without an offense, and that's what we're missing right now. I mean, we can make defensive pieces work. Obviously, you're not going to get a Khalil Mack, but I mean, it's nicer to have somebody go one-on-one all day than get double teamed every single time you go take a snap. So,
honestly, what has Mack done for you? After that trade, he had a stellar season, but he hasn't been the Mack worth that money.
In 3 seasons with Chicago, he's averaging 10 sacks a season. I mean, it's good numbers. It's not Mac numbers. I mean, it's a little below standard of what Khalil Mack usually brings. But at the end of the day, I mean, really, Khalil Mack just brings his presence, and his presence is enough to pull 2 offensive linemen instead of 1. And then you get a lot of pressure for other people, such as, say, Akeem Hicks. You know, Akeem Hicks has been having his career years over in Chicago. He's been looking phenomenal. But he wasn't doing that with the Patriots. He wasn't doing that with the other team he was on prior to that. I'm blanking right now. But you know, whenever he was with New England compared to whether he was with Chicago, he's become a much more dominant run stuffer. He's become a lot more on the ball kind of guy, and it's been very effective for the Bears defense on that point. It allows for a lot of people to step up, because now we're looking at Brent Urban. He's been doing really well this season, and he's not a name to write home about either. But it's been interesting to see what he brings. But I mean, do you want an offense that can keep up with everybody, or an offense that has to play up to your defense? I see exactly where you're going with that. And I think a lot of Bears fans would be kind of 50-50 on that, but I'm on one side, I'll be honest.
They'll be 50-50 on it until the first game of the season and be like, oh, wait, Watson can make up for what Mac, like he can score. But I mean, you saw what he did this year. He had no wide receivers this year, and he still scored all 30 points against Tennessee and 30 points here and there without – He's a winner. Everywhere he's gone, he's a winner. High school, college, at Clemson. This guy's a winner. Honestly, I would throw I'll just at least make the call. I know Watson probably doesn't want to come there, but you put him with a great defense, and you have Robinson and Montgomery. I mean, hey, and then you get in the draft and you get a slot, like if you get a Ohio State wide receiver and Alave, sorry, for Ohio State. Yeah, if you get him or someone else, like, dude, your offense can manage a bad defense. We've seen that throughout the whole NFL. And if you get a great defensive coordinator, your defense is – I mean, your secondary is already set with Fuller and company in the secondary. So it's not hard to find, especially – I mean, honestly, I would take offense over defense right now if I were the Bears, because you always have these great defenses and your offense sucks. Why not try the other way around, you know?
And you know what's going to be dumb? We're going to do something stupid. We're going to sign we're going to trade the big money bag for Carson Wentz, and then we're going to draft an O-lineman. That's exactly what we're going to do.
If you sign Carson Wentz, I would disown the Bears franchise. I would. I would. What?
As long as Nick Foles isn't my starting quarterback next year, and neither is Dwayne Haskins, I think it's an upgrade.
You know what's funny about that? You know, during the game, I'm like, you might want to put Foles in. He's actually has some playoff magic. See if he actually could have been worse.
Guy who hasn't played in 5 weeks. Yeah, I'm good. I understand where you're coming from, but I'm okay. I'd rather lose. Con man, I'll turn it over to you. Where do you think the quarterback room should go for Chicago? Do you think they should address it in the draft, or do you think they should maybe try to go after a Dak, or maybe go after a Deshaun Watson? What do you think the move is?
I would go after Watson without question. I think he would fit right in. I think if they can keep the defensive intact, get Watson, get a couple of some good picks. Offensive picks, I think they can definitely do some work. But I would definitely go after Watson. I think he'd be better than any play they can get out of the draft. I would go with Watson right now. I think he's ready. He's ready to go. He would fit right in, and like you say, he'd be probably the best quarterback Chicago's had in a long time. And he can make up for the offensive problems that they have.
Now, Will, before you leave or whatever, before you go on, would you be okay? Like offering 2 first rounds for Watson or 3 first rounds for Watson, or 2 and a
Oh, we keep Mac?
You keep Mac.
Oh, yeah. You kidding me? I don't care. If we can keep every piece, if we can find some way, a perfect storybook offseason for the Bears would be to find a way to keep everybody on defense, find a way to re-sign Allen Robinson, and get Deshaun Watson in a trade without losing pieces. That'd be phenomenal. Wow. If we could find a way to do that, I will take back every bad thing I ever said about Ryan Pace. But until he does that, I won't do it. Until he does that, I meant what I said. But I mean, it's the Bears. We saw confidence. We had a chance at quarterbacks this offseason, and we went after Nick Foles. I mean, it is what it is. We have chances at quarterbacks this offseason. We're probably going to go after Cam Newton. It's probably exactly what's going to happen. If not Cam Newton, then we're going to put our faith in Taylor Heineke, which, by the way, don't sleep. But no, I mean, it's better than Cam Newton. But that's just a personal opinion. But yeah, I mean, the Bears. The thing that really irritated me about the way they played today is that David Montgomery has been on fire as of late. David Montgomery has been the anchor of that offense, ended up making his way into the top 5 rushing leaders in the NFL this season at the end of the season based off the last 5 games. I think in the last 6 games, he has a rushing touchdown, and he got 12 attempts. He got only 12. And not only that, but obviously the Saints did a good job of shutting him down, 2.6 a carry. So yeah, I understand abandoning the run at a point, especially when you're down. But I mean, this is your anchor. This is your guy. You believe in him. We finally have an offensive line that's been competent and is doing their thing, because that was a big problem early on. And then you abandon the run, which is the thing that got you here in the first place. And it just didn't seem like the Bears' play calling. Bill Lazor seemed to go completely away from everything he knew, and it was just a pain. It was really bad to watch. And I knew once Javon Wims dropped that wide open catch in the end zone, I knew exactly where this game was going. It was right there. It could have easily put us up, and I was just sitting there going,
changed the game. It changed the game.
It could have completely changed everything about the game. Complete wide open, beautiful throw by Trubisky. I'll give it to him. It was literally right where it needed to be. And Javon Wims just put his arms out and did it like a basketball hoop and went right through his arms, and then he went for 3, and then he realized he was playing football. It was kind of awkward, not going to lie, but yeah, it is what it is. What can you do? But all right, next slide, Nate. I don't know if there is another one. I'm sure there probably is. Yeah, I figured. Going on into this game is currently live right now, and as I'm being told, the Browns are up 14-0. And now this is nuts. I don't know where they're at in the game right now. I'm assuming end of the first, towards the second.
Nope, 9 minutes left in the first quarter.
Good Lord, it is early in this game.
I can recap a little bit.
Yeah, what are the 2 touchdowns?
First play of the game, Ben Roethlisberger, shotgun, center over, snaps him over the head. Browns recover in the end zone for a touchdown.
Great start.
And then next drive, Ben Roethlisberger throws an interception, and then Mayfield just threw it to Landry for a touchdown in the end zone to make it 14-0.
Wow. So the Steelers are off to a very rough start. A lot of mental mistakes, and a bad snap, an interception. And let's keep in mind, folks, not only is this the first time that the Browns have been to the playoffs since 03, they also haven't won in Pittsburgh in 17 years. That is phenomenal. The fact that this has been just pure dominance on the Pittsburgh Steelers side of things when in Pittsburgh over the Cleveland Browns. They have not won since 2000. And it'd be 17 years ago. So now it'd be 2003 again. Hey, look at that. Browns making things happen. That year's haunting them.
Yep.
But it's phenomenal that the Browns are already up 14-0 over a couple of mental mistakes. Everybody's been questioning the legitimacy of the Pittsburgh Steelers ever since jumping out to 11-0. A lot of people jumped on them. Oh, this is the worst 11-0 football team in history. Then they lose to the Washington football team, who ended up making the postseason. Who'd they lose to next after that? They dropped another game.
Bengals.
That's what it was. And then came back, ended up beating the Indianapolis Colts, and then lost again while sitting the starters to the Cleveland Browns. So losers of 3 of their last 4. The Browns are coming off of a win against the backups. Congrats, I guess. But the Browns were this team that, to be fair, in the AFC, nobody can be counted out. I mean, everybody that made the playoffs is at least 11-5. Every team that's in the playoffs deserves to be here. It's not like the NFC where there's an 8-8 and a 7-9 team. These are teams that are very good. A 10-6 team got left off the card in the AFC. Let's just put it that way. A team that would have won the NFC East and a team that would have, easily made the wild card out in the NFC. This is a very tough conference. It really is. And so the Browns are up early by 2 scores due to 2 mistakes by the Steelers. Trey, do you think this is serviceable for the Browns? Do you think they're going to be able to keep it going? Are you on the bandwagon of the Steelers are frauds? Where's your head game? Where's your headspace at with this game?
And you hit it right on the head. I'm a big fan of Steelers being frauds, man. I watching my dad's a big Steeler fan, so I'll watch a lot of Steelers just to nitpick them and pick on them a little bit. But just saying, man, they weren't winning these. I mean, yeah, they were 11-0, but they easily could have been 1-10 at the same time with a lot of those games. The only dominant game that they won was against Cincinnati the first time. They should have lost to Dallas. They should have lost to all these other teams in the first early in the season. They could have easily lost all these games. So, yeah, I didn't believe in them whatsoever. They cannot run the football. And Ben Roethlisberger is looking every bit of his age, especially in cold weather. He does not. This needs to be his last year. I know he wants to come back next year, but man, I picked the Browns to win this game, and I was nervous going into it because stat you were telling me they haven't won in Pittsburgh in 17 tries, and then COVID happened, and then Stefanski ain't coaching today because he has COVID.
My goodness.
And then they only practiced one day on a Friday afternoon. That was it. Everything else was virtual. So that kind of scared me, but this time in the season, I don't think you really need to practice in the NFL. I think resting your players, I think it's more because you already know what you're going to do, especially against a division opponent when this is your 3rd time. You know what they're going to do and everything like that. So resting your body is probably a little helpful right now, I would think. But, man, the Steelers, they can't run the ball. The receivers, I thought they were stud wide receivers, but they lead the league in drop passes. It's remarkable how much they drop passes in Pittsburgh land. But it's just about Ben Roethlisberger. They need to go out and get a quarterback in the draft because Mason Rudolph ain't going to be a franchise. I just don't trust this team. They're not playing good ball. They're back just like the Bears were kind of. the Steelers are backing into the playoffs. They're not playing good football whatsoever. I mean, they're not even winning close games. They're getting blown out by the Bengals. The Browns, they're taking it to them early right now. And the Browns are in prime shape up 14-0 because what they do really, really, really well is running the football with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So you're not even looking for Baker Mayfield to make a mistake. All you got to do is hand the ball off with those. And remember, they both had 1,000 yards rushing this year. So I'm telling you, this Browns team is for real. I wouldn't be surprised if they go on a deep run. Now, will they beat Kansas City? No. No.
We know what your opinion about that is.
But if they were allowed to play Buffalo, I wouldn't be surprised to see them beat Buffalo. Especially after what Buffalo did last. Buffalo squeaked by yesterday. But honestly, I still think Buffalo and Kansas City are going to be in the championship, so it doesn't matter. But it wouldn't surprise me either. The Browns actually go on a little playoff run either. So,
comment. I'll ask you. I saw a comment in the comments section from Madison Ewan. Is Big Ben done if they manage to lose this game? Do you think this will be the farewell tour for Big Ben?
I think it depends on how he finishes out. All the reasons that Trey was saying, I lean towards Pittsburgh for all he was saying, not having the coach, the practice, COVID. My mind, maybe I was thinking with my heart instead of my mind. And I felt Pittsburgh was definitely going to come out. I mean, the game's not over yet, still early. But I thought Pittsburgh would definitely be playing better than what they are right now, obviously. But to answer your question, I don't think Ben's going to want to go out this year. If they lose, I don't think he's going to want to go out. Maybe he should, but in his mind, I don't think he's going to want to go out. What do you think, Will?
I'm definitely with you that I think he should. But man, it is weird because, you never want to go out on a bad note. But at the same time, do you want to just sit there and wait it out until you win? Big Ben might never retire.
Right?
At the end of the day, every season you're a year older. And as you get older, especially probably, I saw this in an interview with a former NFL player, especially when you get past that age of 30, those hits start to feel harder. Those stretches start to get harder to stretch. Everything starts to really, the clock really starts to turn after the age of 30. And, when we're sitting here thinking about it in real life, I'm 22, and I know both of you gentlemen are over the age of 30. And
a little bit.
Yeah, just you don't look a day over, but it's fine.
Thank you.
But whenever it comes down to it, we're thinking about, I know Trey's in his 30s. We're thinking about Trey, and Trey's not an old guy. We're not thinking anything of it, but Trey's also not getting lined up and hit for a living. So it's one of those, and Trey's probably got a bad back or some bad knees or something like that anyway. Everybody does. Now imagine sitting here getting paid to get pummeled every week. I know your offensive line's supposed to keep you from doing that, but I can promise you Big Ben's taken quite a few hits in his career, and I guarantee he's taken quite a few this season as well. So it's an interesting way. I think this should be the farewell tour for a lot of quarterbacks. I think this should be the end of Drew Brees. I think this should be the end of Phillip Rivers. I think this should be the end of Big Ben. I think a lot of quarterbacks should find their way on the way out this year, but will they? Who knows? And I think it should be the end of Cam Newton, not because of his age. He just sucks. But Trey, you look like you had something to add to that. Go ahead.
Well, you see, Ben is actually 30. He's younger than Breeze and Brady. He's 37, 38 years old. But if you remember Big Ben back when he was younger, he took a lot. He held that ball for way too long. He was beating people off his body. That adds up. And he does not take care of his body like Breeze and Brady do. He does not. If you look at him, he does not exercise the way he's supposed to. He's always out of shape when he comes into training camp. He's not the same. And that's why. And you're seeing it today. You're seeing it the whole season. He just digressed throughout the rest of the season. Now, I will agree with you. I think 3 of those people you just said will be done at the end of. I think Drew Brees is for sure done. I think those broken ribs got him. He wants to be with it, healthy for his family. He's a family man. He wants to do that. Phillip Rivers. The way I saw him today, he signed a 1-year deal for a reason. I think this was it. I think he won one last hurrah. The Colts need to move on from him, which is going to happen. They're going to go quarterback in the draft, and it sucks, but it does. Phillip Rivers basically threw the game away yesterday against the Colts when they had a chance to go kick a game-winning field goal. But even if Big Ben doesn't want to retire. The Steelers need to do him a favor and say, "You're not playing for us." I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You know something though, Craig, and Will, to go with that, I'll try to make an analogy. It's like boxing. Boxers stay around too long. They take a beating, but they don't know when to quit. You know what I mean? I think that's the thing that's going on with Ben right now. He wants to go out on his own terms.
But yeah, he needs to do it this year because next year he's going to be old and you're going to put him off on a wheelchair. That's why I had so much. I hated the move at the time, the way he did it, but I liked what Andrew Luck did, the way he retired. He goes, you know what? I'm a young man. I want to have kids. I just got married, had a brand new baby. He did it. You know what? I'm not the healthiest guy. I want to have a full life, and I'm applaud him for what he did. And that's what these players need to do. Huh?
Who are you talking about there?
Andrew Luck.
Oh, yeah.
When he did that, everyone hated him, scolded him for it. But I guarantee if you put yourself in that, dude, I'm 34 years old. I haven't played since 15 years ago. My daughter wants me to go and play on the ground, and it takes me forever to get back up. I can't imagine what these players are going through. I mean, Big Ben needs to do himself a favor. Look at the tape, even if he doesn't respond right away. He needs a week after the season's over. He needs to go look at all of his film from this year and be like, I don't have it anymore. Your mind might think you do, but there's no way you have it. There's no way. And the Steelers need to save him from that.
At the end of the day, man, age isn't just, a number, it's physicality. You may be like, I'm 22. Yes. But I've had a brutal knee injury in my baseball career, and it, similar to what Trey said, it takes a minute to get up sometimes, I was a catcher. I used to be able to pop up quick, but once you take those hits, you get those injuries, it really does add up. And so really, kudos to Andrew Luck for being bigger than the game and saying, look, for my family's sake, for my sake, I'm out of here. And you know what? He's fallen off the face of the earth. We haven't even heard of him. Not a return, not a coaching position. He just said, no, I'm done. I'm gonna go live with my family. I made my money. We're gonna preserve my life. So, shout out to Andrew Luck. I mean, shout out to Big Ben for doing it as long as he has. NFL stands for not for long, but not for Big Ben. He's been doing it for quite some time. But sometimes you do need to know when to hang it up. And if you're not keeping up physically, if you're not doing everything, all the steps that it needs to take to perform at peak level in the NFL, it's probably safer for you to get out. At the point you don't want to hang around, especially in your upper 30s. You're coming up to 40 now. Breeze, Brady, like we said, they take care of themselves. They probably put a ton of money into taking care of themselves in the off season, whether it be physical trainers or everything like that. But Big Ben really does come in every single off season looking out of shape, and he has to work himself back into shape, and he looks bigger every year. I don't know if his shoulder pads are getting bigger. I'd like to think that's what it is, but I think he's really out of shape, and I think he's almost losing it, losing the love for it almost a little bit. And whenever it's getting to that point, even if you have the slightest doubt, it's time to hang it up, because at that point you're just risking your health for no reason. So any closing thoughts on Big Ben or the Steelers Browns game, anything like that?
Quick update. Kareem Hunt just ran over the Pittsburgh Steelers defense for a 21-0 lead at 4:40 left in the first quarter.
Oh my God.
Good night, Pittsburgh. 21-0 in the first
quarter, 4:40 left in the first.
Oh my God.
This is a Browns team without their coach.
Wow.
Remember that.
I'm just saying the game's not over. They do throw the ball a lot. They can come back, but the Cleveland Browns look like they're on a mission. I'm sorry. That's why I picked them. This team.
Wow. 21-0. Who would have thought that I would have said Browns are up 21-0? Not me.
Not me.
Now will it stand?
Probably not. But matter of time. That's why there's 3 more quarters of football to play. If it came after the end of one, the Browns are looking good. If the game ended after one, Bears would have beat the Packers 7-0 last week. I'm just saying. But nonetheless, Browns are up 21-0. How about it? Breaking news: Kareem Hunt touchdown. Any final slides on this one, Nate? Maybe not. Probably not. I'd imagine that's the last game. I didn't figure. So right now we know the NFC picture. We're waiting on the AFC picture. I want to say if the Steelers win this game, they'll be taking on the Bills. Yes. Yes. And then if the Browns win, they'll be taking on the Chiefs. And then the Ravens will be taking on the Bills. So we're waiting to see on that one. We're waiting to see a matchup. I don't think there's going to be a post game for that one. But as of right now, looking pretty good. Go catch that game, 21-0. I'm sure it's not going to just be an absolute blowout. We haven't seen a real blowout yet this postseason. All games have been really good, honestly, pretty exciting. Shout out Bears for being the one exception. But other than that, I mean, they played fine. They just made a couple of mental mistakes. But really, that's basically coming up on the end of Wild Card Weekend here. Any final thoughts, closing thoughts going into the divisional round?
Yeah, I got a prediction. The Rams are going to be the Packers.
Ooh, with Jared Goff, broken thumb.
Trey, no.
Did you not just see the Rams do what Russell Wilson?
To be fair, that game was
Trey.
I mean, to be fair, Wolford got out the front. They didn't have plays for Jared Goff, and Jared Goff did all right. But Jalen Ramsey can. I'm interested. The only reason I'm interested to see Jalen Ramsey versus Devontae Adams.
Oh, that'd be great.
That's what I want to see.
If
he can contain him one-on-one, I want to see who Aaron Rodgers goes to, because apparently he has no other help. Remember, and then you have Aaron Donald, and I'm telling you, man, this Rams team, I'm telling you, and then if you have Akers running the ball like he did I'm telling you, this Rams team can make a run. I know you don't want to hear it, Will, against Jared Goff.
I'm fine with it. Honestly, they got us in the playoffs. They really did. But
if Wolf, however you say his freaking name, I'm sorry. Him. I cannot.
By the way, if it comes at the expense of the Packers, I'm all for it.
Yes. If he's healthy next week and you have miss and match packages for him, dude, remember the Packers do not defend a run very, very well at all.
No, not at all.
I'm telling you. And then the close defense game, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. And everyone's like, "Oh, you can't go in the Lambeau and win." There's no fans. There's no Lambeau thing this year. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Good point. Good points.
It's just, here's my thing, and here's where it gets tricky. Jared Goff plays awful in cold weather games. And I can tell you it ain't going to be warm whenever you get to Lambeau. And honestly, we're still waiting to hear about John Wolford. You know, he got carted off in a stretcher sent to the ambulance. So prayers up to John Wolford, his family. We heard he's been released from the hospital. Hopefully he is okay. So, it's better off than everybody thought. He was going to take a jarring hit yesterday, and it looked bad. But glad to hear that he's going to be okay. Glad to hear he's out. But T's and P's to you and your family out there for Wolford and everybody such as that. But Jared Goff's really going to have to make a name for himself, and that defense is going to have to play because Jared, I can promise you, not bias aside, there is statistical evidence that when it gets under 60 degrees, that boy plays like a different quarterback. And trust me, it ain't going to be 60 degrees in Lambeau. It might be snowing. It might be like the average temperature in postseason time for the Packers is 9 degrees on the field.
So here's the thing. I just looked at the weather. It's going to be a heated day. Saturday or Sunday, whatever. I can't remember what day they play. 25 degrees, man. Sunny. No snow. We got it.
Snow, sun, it doesn't sleet, hail, it doesn't matter. The fact that it's under 60 degrees is what's going to throw them off.
Hey, you guys, they got that bad man. They got that bad man. I know Trey wants to get mad at me, but they got that bad man. And in Lambeau Field, Will, come on, give it to me. Give it to me.
I'm not giving the Packers.
I told you.
Packers got to earn everything they get from me. I tell you what.
I know.
If a quarterback means all this, win more than one Super Bowl before I get.
Green Bay's going to win a Super Bowl.
Oh, get out of here!
Oh God! I know they're not beating Kansas City. They're not beating Kansas City. I tell you that right now.
I'm telling you, Aaron Rodgers MVP. Green Bay's going to win the Super Bowl.
This isn't anymore, old man. Come on, don't be doing that.
Aaron Rodgers might win the MVP this year because he played the last game and Patrick Mahomes didn't. Sorry, I don't care. But I'll take the Super Bowl MVP in postseason success over choke artist Aaron Rodgers. Just saying.
And that's why the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen will win the Super Bowl MVP. No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Don't forget that.
Is that your second team, Will, since your team's out?
Yeah, I tell you what, rooting for the Rams to beat the Packers, rooting for the Saints because they took us out, and go Bills, baby, because it's the Bills. You got to circle those.
One other thing.
Tell me it's 28-0. Tell me.
No, please.
Going to be Ben Roethlisberger just threw his another interception. Browns have it at the Pittsburgh territory right now.
Is this a joke?
No.
3 minutes still in the first quarter.
Folks,
Are you serious, Trey?
you are watching the monumental collapse of the Pittsburgh Steelers, the end of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sorry. That I don't care how much time is left. If it's going to be 28-0, that's tough. I've seen 28-3. I haven't seen 28-0. So don't be so confident. Oh, man. Hey,
Tomlin must be going crazy. I'm
going crazy, and I'm not even watching. I bet you are.
Madison, it's all right, man. It's a long game. They can come back. This is the Browns. It ain't the Chiefs. It's the Browns. They know how to choke games away. It's all right, Madison. It's all right. Stick with your team.
The Steelers are just – oh, man.
This is abysmal. You're right, Madison. I'm kind of watching and I'm like,
I'm with you on that one, Madison. I'm telling you.
Word right there. I tell you what, the run game has been tough. Big Roethlisberger's just been tough. Missing so many defensive pieces. I mean, it was a matter of time. It really was. It's just that it came to the Browns. That's kind of embarrassing to be a Steelers fan. But, I mean, hey, you didn't lose to the 2 seed. So, we're the bottom wild card team. We were supposed to lose anyway. Suck it. Sucks to suck. Win your division, get blown out in the wild card round. No, I'm kidding. Really, really unfortunate. Just to go down potentially 28-0, and maybe this being your final game. That's
Browns just scored. It is 28-0.
Oh, I can't. Oh.
Okay, I need to go watch this game because I need to go see how much the Browns are going to put up. Because what if they drop a 50 bomb? I'm going to freak out, and then I'm going to freak out for my Bills because I don't want to see that. Oh no, they'd be playing the Chiefs. All right, good. Yeah, get them out of here. But otherwise, going into the wild card round, we're wrapping up the wild card round with this abysmal game, and then we're gonna go ahead and move on to the divisional round, and we'll be back for that. But until then, for Trey, for Michael Conman, and for myself, Will Polston, this has been ASAP Network, and we will see you in the next one. You guys take it easy.
Have a good night.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays. Like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.